One of the defining characteristics of Malayalam cinema's oeuvre is its constant urge to innovate and iterate on ideas, taking the audiences to new and compelling places. Sukshma Darshini, directed by Jitin MC, is the latest addition to this unique oeuvre that builds up on a neighborhood comedy that runs like a warm current under the surface of tension and suspense, until the chilling final showdown that stuns and changes the game all over for the audience. It takes a long time to get there, but there is literally never a dull moment, and as we go from moral to psychological to a cultural reference point against which to recalibrate our critical standards. And thus, what starts as a case of upmanship between a bizarre man and his nosy neighbor blows in stakes and dimensions into a tale of social commentary and cleverly written gender politics. As Manuel returns with his mother to their former home in a middle-class neighborhood, he is immediately the point of talk and attention within the closely knit community. One of the neighbors is Priyadarshini, a housewife looking for a job, bored of her routine life. An inherently curious person with attention to details as she quickly picks up certain oddities in Manuel's ways. Priya's discomfort with the man goes further up as she learns that Manuel's mother might be suffering from Alzheimer's and not in entire control of her actions and decisions. And while things do not exactly marry in her head about Manuel's narrative, she also cannot put finger on what exactly is not working out for her. And then, Manuel's mother goes missing from the house one day. There is an uncle and a cousin with whom Manuel is found to be planning something sinister, and his sister returns from New Zealand on hearing that her mother cannot be found. Are they all together in some conspiracy against the helpless elderly we try to find together with Priya? The beauty of a thriller lies in its details, and it is in the attention to the small angles of the story by Atul Ramachandran and Libin TB where Sukshma Darshini scores the highest. If you have already watched the film, you know well what we are saying. And if you are yet to watch it, believe us when we say that any ideas that you might develop getting so far into the plot does not prepare you at all for what is about to follow. In fact, at a point of time, you feel that this is all a farce, everything leading to a comic anticlimax that would end in feel-good terms. And there lies the basic theme of the film with the deceptive mold of a thriller, as it makes us all take a hard look at our own lives and our impulses to judge something from afar. Perhaps we would not have the same thought if the premise was in this cozy neighborhood, if the narrative was not punctuated with the regularly running comic elements and idiosyncrasies of the characters we watch, including that of the probable conspirators. If it would not be Basil Joseph cast as Manuel, a face we associate of being the friendly neighborhood guy, or if it would not have been Nazaria as Priya, the bubbly chirpy image as against that of an intelligent mind. Or if it would not be a housewife putting across all these questions in the air, and be a sly cop instead, like in so many recent Malayalam movies. Maybe not applicable for all of us, but for some of us for sure, like Priya's husband, who even though aware of her eye for the detail, discards her apprehensions for long. Until that bonkers of a climax. So if in Rear Window, Hitchcock's protagonist was limited by his broken leg while sitting and watching his suspicious neighbor who possibly committed a murder, our protagonist Priyadarshini in this clever film is limited by the sexist prejudices of our society, like the walls and iron grills that the camera mostly puts up in front of her while capturing her intelligence and curiosity until she crosses over the wall, and how. As the climax comes, you realize how intelligently plot points were built all this while, and how everything fits in together, how elements from the introductory scenes come back with a bang to echo at the finish line. Like the red cloth Manuel ties on a tree, the dent on Priya's car, or the cat that Manuel hits at when he moves into the neighborhood. Those final moments as the cat stares back at Manuel, leaving, as the frame then merges into Priya staring at the dent on her car, are fascinating moments to hold on. Moments of cinematic pleasure that only deft writing can offer. The cat as a symbol of feminine, as the entire film works as an ode to woman in disguise. Of the camaraderie between the ladies of the neighborhood, of their trust in each other, of Steffi's helpful nature, of Priya's care and concerns towards the unrelated, and certain revelations that come at the end that speak of feminine love and care in volumes. And then in a masterstroke, the film also reveals the alternate side of the maternal persona and the softness of femininity. Thus again questioning our ideas of familiar images and how our judgments based on such societal presumptions lead into tragedies. We would not get into the details at the cost of spoilers. Let that be for you to find out as you watch the film. Let's just say that Sukshmadarshini is not just another thriller out there, whose thrill finishes off with a climactic showdown. In fact, its impact starts to build right after the final frames, as it emphasizes how just another housewife can be a super sleuth in the making, if convictions are supported and nurtured. Basil Joseph is perfectly cast as Manuel, once again in a shady role after his phenomenal act in Jaya 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 Hey. He brings in that exact blend of fun and sinister that the character demanded, thus elevating the experience of watching the film. Nazriya, back from a break, is also in fine form, reminiscent of her all-bubbly spirited role, while her Priyadarshini also goes on to remind that someone lively and effervescent isn't necessarily dumb inside, as the judgmental world thinks them to be. Sukshmadarshini is a clever film in all, way more than what meets the eye, and just at a time when we are looking for more woman-centric offerings in this year's rich palette of Malayalam cinema. Here comes another gem that answers that ask beautifully. Go for Sukshmadarshini if you have not watched it yet. You can thank us later. That is all from us today. Thank you for watching. If you like our content, please consider subscribing.